Victor Avila is a former ICE agent, Immigration Customs Enforcement. How are you, Vic?
I'm doing really good. How are you?
Good. Could you please explain to our audience how ICE helps to secure our nation?
Absolutely. ICE is the investigative arm for the Department of Homeland Security. ICE investigates all federal violations that have a nexus to our border. So anything that touches our border, any kind of smuggling of goods or people, ICE is going to investigate that. And we're talking about human smuggling, drug trafficking, intellectual property rights, commercial fraud, you name it. If it touches our border, ICE will be there to investigate it.
The Trump administration was bullish when it came to border security. The winds of political change, well, it's here. The winds are changing. I had a conversation with a Border Patrol chief here in the Rio Grande Valley, and it seems that the word has gotten down to Central America that things are changing, and as a result, Border Patrol is a bit busier these days. Let's start with a wall, the unfinished wall from the Trump administration. There's some reports that say that maybe the incoming administration, if Mr. Biden does get the White House, Mr. Biden might just go ahead and cancel whatever has been scheduled to be built. Less wall for the border. When it comes to security for our nation, what do you think that does to security on the border?
Well, it definitely diminishes our security. You know, it's all about securing our border, and really it shouldn't matter who's in the White House. But the stopping of the construction of the border wall is one of those steps that takes us in the wrong direction. As you probably heard, our Border Patrol men and women want the wall. They need the wall as a tool to help them better do their jobs. And they want to replace the wall barrier with technology and lighting and other type of systems. And that's okay. But the wall should continue, and the seeding of the construction wall, it won't be good. And because you already mentioned, we've seen the caravans before. Well, you'll wait to see the hundreds of thousands of people that will be coming because of the message that we're sending down to, and it's not just Central America, but the rest of the world, that we're going to have an open border, and we'll see an influx of illegal activity at the border.
Might there be a reprioritization at ICE, an edict, a directive from the top, as far as investigations and people that are sought and deported when it comes to ICE?
Well, that's a great question, because Joe Biden has already announced who would be the Department of Homeland Security Secretary, Alejandro Mayorkas. And he has a history of more of an open border mentality, and refugee, changing the asylum, or at least in the interpretation of the asylum laws, kind of what we saw in the last couple of years where the caravans coming before these orders were placed. For example, the Remain in Mexico policy administered by this administration, that would be gone, and so the catch and release would continue, where people would get caught and then released back into our country to most of the time never to be seen again. And so I don't know how high up and ICE, the administration, will change, but I'll tell you what, they're getting prepared.
Who is Alejandro Mayorkas?
He is, Joe Biden announced that he would be his appointee or to be confirmed by the Senate as the next Secretary for the Department of Homeland Security.
I did a quick search as you were talking to me here a second ago.
Yeah, he used to be the deputy secretary at one point.
Yeah, he worked for the Clinton administration. Alejandro Mayorkas, an attorney, former government official, Cuban, grew up in California, and has ties to as a Democrat, has ties to I believe it said here, either Obama, the Clinton administration. That's where he worked for. Yeah, this catch and return versus catch and release, that's health-based, though. That's CDC saying, you guys work with Mexico, and we have. It's like Mexico City's doing more to try to secure the border and accepting any and all illegal immigrants right now. Can he just go in there willy-nilly and say, hey, I know it's still COVID, but hey, we need to keep everybody here who shows up illegally? Can he do something like that?
He can, and this is you're actually right now because of COVID, certain things are in place right now. What you just mentioned is the catch and return, which we're doing to try to control some of these COVID cases, especially on border towns. Look at what's happening in El Paso, Texas. They're overrun with COVID cases because of people from Mexico coming in, and I'm talking about U.S. citizens, permanent resident aliens, and Mexican nationals coming in to the United States and taking up spaces in our hospitals. And you see the number of COVID cases overrun, especially in El Paso, Texas. But yes, that's the dangerous position here, is that it would be foolish to just kind of, with a stroke of a pen, try to undo everything, which I think they would hopefully do it in phases. But absolutely, they have the authority to do that.
Victor Avila, former ICE agent, is my guest. How many years were you with ICE, Vic? Tell me a little bit about yourself and how you pay the bills these days. What do you do?
Well, I medically retired. I was shot in the line of duty.
My goodness.
In 2011.
What happened? What happened, man?
Special Agent Jaime Zapata and I were assigned in Mexico, and we were ambushed by the Zetas cartel.
Victor Avila. Oh, my goodness. Apenas me entró el peine. I just barely figured out who you are, brother. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I'm the surviving agent from that ambush. We tragically lost Agent Zapata. And so nowadays I go around doing public speaking events. I just released my book, Agent Under Fire, a murder and a manifesto, talking about the shooting, talking about growing up on the border, and also all of the issues. The second part of the book is talking all about border security from someone that has not only born and raised in El Paso, Texas, but also worked as a law enforcement officer most of my career on the border and in Mexico. And so I really bring a unique perspective to share what really is happening down there. I know border towns have a different perspective and know what's going on because you see it every day, but it's just sometimes the rest of the country doesn't know, especially Washington. There's a big disconnect with that. And so in my book, I put a lot of the solutions that we could see to secure our border. And the security of the border, it really should not be really that political in the sense that we want the safety and security of our U.S. citizens. And it's plain and simple as that. You know, the drug cartels are out of control in Mexico. They are continuing to bring the heroin, the methamphetamine, and the fentanyl to our communities in the United States that are killing our children. And the insecurity in Mexico directly affects us here in the United States. And so there has to be more attention to be paid down there because the government of Mexico, as you know, has not wanting to address that. And the cartels have direct impact here, like I said, here with our security. So it is imperative that border security remain a focus because, and not just illegal immigration, human trafficking, the human smuggling cases. We're seeing record numbers of seizures right now in drugs. And why is that? It's because more of it is coming in. Seizures go up. That means there's more of the illegal substances coming into our country. And so I think it's time that we focus on Mexico, focus on our border, and really try to solve this issue.
The prospect of that continuing, I'm not too hopeful because of the political winds changing. Before this whole defund the police thing, this crazy battle cry from leftists, just nuts. Before that, people like Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and her ilk, they wanted to shut down immigration customs enforcement. They'd be very happy to get rid of ICE. If you get Mr. Mayorkas to be the leader of Homeland Security, could he just or the new Democrat president, could they just get rid of ICE, or would they? Do you know if they would need to go legislatively, get Congress to rewrite it, defund it? Do you know?
I don't think he would be able to abolish it, and frankly, I don't think he's that far off to the left, like AOC is, they're not going to abolish ICE. That I could almost say that confidently. But the role that ICE plays could definitely be diminished. I mean, I worked under the Obama administration as well, and I remember just being there was a lot of restrictions in place that just by executive order, some investigations that we did, worksite enforcement, for example, was reduced drastically under the Obama administration. And so you will see those type of changes. And the investigations will continue. ICE Homeland Security Investigations will continue to do all their investigations, like I said, with our nexus to the border. But the restrictions that sometimes will be attached to that, especially when it comes to the immigration policy. There's a lot of other stuff that HSI ICE does. For example, now we're worried about the vaccines that are coming in, and are there going to be counterfeit vaccines in there? There's a lot of fraud that will possibly be born because of that. ICE investigates that, HSI. Well, so there's a lot of other focuses that we'll do, but the immigration part of it, that's where I think they will try to, reshift the focus of the investigations, which means you'll see more human smuggling cases, unfortunately, more human smuggling, like the Border Patrol chief you had on, and tractor trailers and unfortunate events like that.
Yeah.
They will continue, and they will come in droves.
10-4. It is a pleasure speaking with you. We'll keep in touch, brother. You be safe.
Thank you very much.
Give me the name of your book one more time, Vic, so people go look for it right now.
Agent Under Fire, A Murder in a Manifesto. You could get it on Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com.
Got it. Merry Christmas, brother.
Merry Christmas. Thank you, Sergio.